What's up, everyone? My name is Edson Cardona, and I want to welcome you guys to the Let's Kick It series. On these episodes, we get the pleasure to be joined by professional athletes, get a little insight on their background and how they made it this far in their athletic careers. A conversation between athletes about their journeys leading them to success. I hope you guys enjoy. We are keeping safe with the COVID-19 pandemic, and my hope is that we're all doing our part in standing in solidarity with the racial justice movement and against police brutality because Black Lives Matter. My name is Edson Cardona. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Let's Kick It series. For all those who joined before, thank you for coming back. For those who are joining for the first time, welcome. On this episode, I have the pleasure to introduce Marie Bertholdt. She's from Munich, born in Germany, Munich, Germany, moved to California when she was 9 months, grew up in Alameda, California, played for the Cal Stars AAU program during high school, ended up going to Santa Clara University where she played her 4 years there from 2013 to 2017, and then moved to Germany after college, where she's been playing for her fourth season now at the BC Marburg Blue Dolphins. So without further ado, Marie, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
No problem. I appreciate your time for you giving us on the Let's Kick It series. How's coronavirus treating you out there?
It's been good. I wouldn't say good, but I just got back to Germany a week ago, and it's definitely, I would say, an improved situation compared to the United States. So it's been a nice kind of breath of fresh air and slowly getting back to normal, while obviously being safe and taking precautions as well. So it's been nice.
Yeah, it's exciting to hear that you're back out there, and so you're gonna hopefully start season soon out there, and I'm happy for you. I appreciate the time you're giving us again. So we'll go ahead and get started.
Sounds good. Thank you.
So as an athlete, I mean, we all have our stories, right? And so when did yours begin? When did your journey begin as an athlete?
So I would say as an athlete in general, it's kind of funny. I was actually like way more into competitive soccer when I was younger. I started at a really young age with soccer. I think I was like 3. Maybe that's also just typical California. I feel like everyone kind of plays soccer growing up. But yeah, I got into that at a young age, and I feel like there were also so many opportunities to play, whether it was recreationally or even, a little competitively. And I didn't start playing basketball. I believe it was 4th grade. We had like a rec. It's called AYB in Alameda as well, and kind of started doing that. I wouldn't say forced into it, but like definitely friends, and like I was tall from a young age. So like, you'd be perfect for basketball. So it's kind of like, hey, just kind of stand under the hoop and you'll figure it out kind of thing. So I played that, starting in 4th grade, but probably transitioned. It was my freshman year of high school. So I played soccer for a long time. I was on a pretty competitive club team. I think part of that, I was part of like a really cool group of girls, and like we just all got along really well. So it was like, I would say I almost knew soccer wasn't really my future at an earlier age, but it was like, you're in like middle school and it's hard to give up the group of friends. And so I think that definitely kept me going for a lot longer. And then I got to high school, and freshman year, because winter sport or soccer and basketball are winter sport, I kind of had to choose. And so I don't remember exactly what caused me to kind of go with basketball. I think I was a little like introduced to the program early on and like had been to more games. So I was like, and maybe that was the start of the shift where I was like, I kind of am better at basketball and I actually do enjoy it more. And like, maybe this is more for me. And then, so I played freshman year. I chose to go with basketball, and that's kind of where it all took off. made varsity freshman year, and it was a great experience. I think that definitely helped a lot too. Like it was, again, like a good group of girls, and kind of took off from there. So it took a while for basketball to kind of be in the picture, but obviously now that's what it's become.
No, yeah, it's amazing to see that. I mean, your first sport was soccer, and you did not even know that basketball was going to be something that's going to turn into your professional like career, you know, like where you are now. And so it's crazy to see the ups and downs that you go as a young kid playing sports. You know, you play different sports, either soccer, basketball, baseball, whatever it is. But now that you got into basketball, like what kept you so motivated and like disciplined to stick with it? Was it because were better at it, or was it because, like you talked about a little, that you made varsity your freshman year and it gave you kind of that up on, okay, this is kind of the sport that I want to keep going on?
I think, that was definitely a good push. And I think even just like realizing my potential within basketball. Like I said, I think I just realized, yeah, like how much better I could get at basketball. And I think I ended up just loving the sport more. I'm not, like, for sure. I loved soccer growing up, and it was like I said, great experience. And I think I'm really glad I did so many sports growing up, because I think it's good to get that exposure. And I don't think you should be limited to one sport from, the early age on. But I think I just kind of like found my, role in basketball, saw like how I could be successful with that. But even in the beginning, like even after freshman year, I think it took me a while to really be like, oh, I can take this to the next level type thing. I was still, I would say, pretty naive. I was like, yeah, I'm just playing and whatever, like this is fun. And I guess I'm not terrible at this, but also nothing like, it was never like, oh, from the start, like I knew I wanted to go to college for this. I would say that kind of took me until almost end of sophomore year of high school, when that was more of like the coaches being like, hey, have you thought of this? And I was like, not really, but sounds cool. And then kind of, transition. Then obviously to get seen and recruited, you have to play AAU, because I didn't start doing that until like summer of my sophomore year really either. And then that's kind of where the exposure comes, and the idea, comes, oh, this is actually possible. This would be awesome. I think that was for sure the turning point where I also took it more seriously, because, there's a higher goal in mind and a higher, purpose for your sport. So it took me a while, but then once I was like, oh, this is, so then high school was like, okay, now I know what I'm working towards. Like, I want to go to college. I want to, be at a university where I can play good basketball. And that kind of, I think, got the ball rolling in terms of that.
No, that's amazing, because after you figured out that basketball was kind of the sport that you're going to push yourself on getting better every day, you kind of now saw where your like journey was going to begin. Now you're able to get those college offers. How was that whole transition for you now, playing basketball in high school, playing in the AAU teams? Like, how was the transition now and the process for you to get looked at by Santa Clara University and end up going there for your 4 years?
It was definitely a completely new like territory and like spectrum. I mean, I even just as the smallest thing of like the concept of even college was kind of new to me, because my parents grew up in Germany, and university is just like a totally different concept there, especially in relation to a sport, because they don't have the same like, okay, you play your sport for your college. It's a little different in Europe. So, it was like learn by kind of doing, and like a lot of other people, obviously coaches and, other people I knew that were older for sure had a lot of good information, but getting recruited and what does that even mean? And, what's college even really like? How's the structure of it, and how does sport play a role? And that was like a big learning curve, I would say. But again, I think like getting recruited and like it can be overwhelming at times, but at the same time also like an exciting process. Kind of, I think the best thing for me was, and I think this is, I don't know if this is like all sports, but for basketball, I would say you usually tend to commit, and not that this by any means you have to, but like a lot of people tend to commit like after their junior year summer of playing. So like before their senior year. And I would say that was like one of the best things for me. It was like knowing where I was going to be before my senior year of high school. Cause then, not that I like, didn't care about senior year, but it was like so much more relaxed. And okay, I know where I'm going to be next year. I'm like, can I be excited for that? I can work towards this. But it was like, once you figure out, this is the school for you, and like, this is where I want to go, and you verbally commit or whatever, it was definitely like a thing to look forward to. And then I feel like made my senior year more enjoyable because, you know, you obviously want to end well and all that stuff, but you're not as focused and stressed on like making big decisions. So that was really nice for me personally, I would say, and then something to look forward to, obviously.
No, it's definitely a blessing, you know, all that hard work that you put out throughout your high school, like freshman, sophomore, and junior year, being able to commit is, like you said, that weight off your shoulders where, okay, all that hard work paid off now. And now I committed my junior year verbally and I know where I'm going to go. So it's like, you know, smooth sailing now to go and transition now into your freshman year to Santa Clara University. So how was that now? How different was the basketball for you at Santa Clara, and how different was, I guess, you know, college wise? How was that for you?
Yeah, it was definitely, again, learning curve, transition phase, as I would say most people probably go to or go through. Nerve-wracking time, but also like a super exciting time. I have to say, I was always very comfortable. I got like, you know, the team and the coaches and the staff perceived me and all the new freshmen that year. And I feel like that is a general thing at Santa Clara. It's a great culture, obviously. So it was a very welcoming environment. But also, you know, nerve-wracking. You're young, you're inexperienced. Basketball wise, it was like, okay, everyone's bigger and stronger and faster, and definitely something you have to adjust to. Not only like, do you want to fit in, but you obviously want to perform, and you know, you want to compete at a higher level and actually play. I think something that really helped in terms of basketball was we went to Santa Clara, oh gosh, I think it was 2 months before school even started, and had summer school, which is, you know, a lot of the athletes are there, which is also such a fun time. It's like campus is empty except for all the athletes running
Yeah.
around. And it's that transition period that I think made it so much more smooth because it's like you're focused on the basketball part of it, the athletic side of it, with like, you know, a summer class or two that's like getting you even, you know, easing you into the whole college experience. And then come fall quarter, you're like, oh, I'm already in the fullness. And now it's like, oh, now there's just a ton more people, and like obviously you're busier. But I think that was big for me, like that transition, you know, summer session of whatever it was, 6 weeks, and just getting used to it, getting the rhythm of things, kind of figuring things out. But yeah, I would say my transition was definitely smooth without saying that it wasn't. It was, you know, a challenge, but it was nothing like crazy, you know. I don't know. I think it was just I had a good environment around me that like made it comfortable, and was able to find my spot quickly, or however you want to call it. So.
No, definitely. At the end of the day, being able to adjust, you know, to your environment, have that is great because as an athlete, you want to come to, you know, that culture where you can fit in, you know, and some athletes do go into cultures and it's like a total shock for them because they don't know what to do at the end of the day. And it either makes or breaks them, you know. I know athletes who go into different cultures and either have to go to a different college, transfer out, or they end up stop playing soccer or stop playing basketball, stop playing whatever sport they're doing, you know. And it's like, it's such a roller coaster for some athletes. And it's amazing to see those athletes who do keep pursuing their athletic careers and go for it, because some just give up, you know.
Oh,
And
for
so,
sure. It's a roller coaster. I'm very thankful, you know, and blessed that mine was smooth for the most part, and especially that transition phase. But it allowed me to like, you know, I feel like love my sport even more. Like I thought I loved basketball in high school, and then you get to college, and you're like, okay, I mean, it makes sense why I'm doing this because I love it even more, and obviously now translating into even after college and things like that. But it's fun looking back now, which is crazy how quick time already passes. But you're like, wow, it feels like just yesterday I was like a freshman on campus and, you know, getting used to everything. And now it's like, oh, I'm almost 4 years out of college already. Okay.
yeah, time definitely goes by quick. And so you have to cherish the moments when you have them. And I mean, cherish the moments that you're having now, you know. You're playing pro in Germany. It's amazing too. And so you've had plenty of obstacles on your way to becoming a pro. And so which obstacles did you face and how did you overcome them?
I think I'm gonna go off a little bit more. And I think the biggest obstacle most recently was kind of being injured for the first time. I was during my college career, I was very fortunate that, I think I had an ankle sprain here or there. I know I've had some Achilles problems, but it was nothing ever season ending, nothing ever that kept me out for, honestly, I think I missed like 3 games in my whole career. So last season, I tore my ACL back in November already. And I think I would definitely pinpoint that as like one of the biggest obstacles because it was just something I had never experienced. It was something where for the first time it was like the sport was kind of taken away from me instead of, you know, me being in when I want to go to the gym and when I want to work out and like, how much effort or time or whatever I want to put into my sport. And it was like, okay, well now this is different because I can't, walk or run. And that was definitely tough. It was the beginning of the season, so I knew it was going to be a season-ending injury. So I think mentally that was one of the biggest obstacles that I was like, okay, well, this is something I have to now go through, which again, it was like a crazy way to figure out also like another support system you had. I mean, as sad as it is, but so many people have torn their ACLs, have torn their ACLs multiple times, have come back from that. So it was like inspiring to talk with other people who've done that, know that, they're celebrating those little wins with you as well. So that was definitely something I had to, face. Getting surgery, just a slow process, which I wouldn't consider myself the most patient person, especially when it comes to that. It's easy to get frustrated. It was like almost easier once season was over because it was a little removed and you're not missing out on every game day and every practice, not just sitting there like sulking in your not that I was doing that, but like it's hard to not, be upset that you're not out there. There's nothing you can do about it. But I also now, I mean, I'm cleared for non-contact right now, so I have, a little bit ahead of me. I would say I have a chunk of my rehab behind me. And it's taught me a lot just about, even cherishing and valuing those games and practices even more and like, taking care of your body even more and like just overall being thankful for being able to play the sport and realizing how much you do miss it when it's like, because I had those phases in summer, I was like, oh, I need like a break and I just need, to get my mind off basketball and do something else. And now it's like, I need to be thankful for being able to do this. So I would definitely say that was something that, was just different. But I think I learned a lot. It's as a leadership role, it taught me a lot being on the side and how, you can still have an influence without being on the court. It's different, obviously. And now I'm even more, motivated and excited to get back out there and kind of, be actually back on the court. So.
No, you definitely mentally, I mean, the mental strength that you have, I give you credit for that because athletes who do go through serious injuries, like I said before, make or break them. Right. And it's tough. And it's really tough because especially when you're already kind of at the top, your highest level, it's like, why did this happen to me? Or like, why was it that I got injured when I was doing so well? And especially athletes who are playing in the professional level, it's like, this is their job, and so for you to overcome that and to have that other support system as well. I mean, I know family is a big part in your life too, so I know for sure they're, on your back every single day, like telling you, like, don't worry about it, like things are going to get better. And like you said, you did find different ways when you're out there as well on being a leader. And that also, as a player, as an athlete, I give you much credit for because mentally, it's hard. Being hurt is not the best thing to go through, and so you found different ways on becoming, your best athlete and find different attributes in yourself that you didn't even know. Being on the sideline, being that leader helped you become the player that you are now, and it's only going to make you greater, on the court. And so I applaud you on that one. So that's pretty amazing. And so I also want to ask you, now that you've been in Germany for 4 years, like been able to play, I mean, now that you went through your whole injury, what keeps you motivated throughout these times? What keeps you motivated when you're on your first season and now going on your fourth? What keeps you motivated?
Honestly, I think a big part that's kept me motivated is like realizing how much potential I still have, which is like interesting to think of. I mean, your fourth season as a pro. I mean, I didn't play last season, but still, I back in high school or in college, you reach your junior senior year, and I was like mentally, I was like, oh, I'm probably at my peak, or I'm probably reaching my potential. If you feel good about how you're playing, and you're like, yeah, this is good, and then I come overseas, and I'm like, wow, there's a whole like range of untapped potential that just different competition, also different coaches and different environment just brings out of you. And that I think is very rewarding personally. Like I'm like, I know I can still get better, and I know if I put the work in, there's still more I can do. So I think that was something that over the years I was like, I always hoped one day like I would just get that feeling when I'm done, like okay, I think I've like, and I obviously always hoped it wouldn't be because of injury or something like that, but just in general, I was like, maybe I'll just know one day when you're done. But I also have the feeling that I know I wasn't done yet, I guess. And just part of that was my body felt good. Part of that was, like I said, I felt like I was getting better. And of course, I was having fun and playing the sport I love. And now the injury definitely adds a new element of like, it motivated me even more to get healthy, to get on the court again. Because I was at a good level before that, and I was excited and of where I was going and getting better. And then it's like, okay, this puts a roadblock, but even more, like I said, motivation to get back out there and kind of prove, honestly, just to myself that I can get back to where I was, and obviously just miss playing the game too. So I think that's something that for me has been just that motivating factor of seeing what I can still do with my athletic career.
Yeah, and there's a lot of athletes who, I mean, go through the process and feel as if they've made it to their peak, you know,
Right.
and don't realize like there's so much more to learn. Like you can learn so much more as a pro. Like you never stop learning, and it's great to
Sure.
see that you're seeing that now. You're seeing that in your journey throughout being a pro, throughout college, even high school. Like you saw, like, hey, I'm good, but I can be better.
Sure.
And I can always be better in this. I can always be better my left hand. I can be better in my, all of those things that come into play as an athlete. And it's great to see that you're still motivated. And, even at this time, even being over there overseas, like, yeah, you got hurt, but that's like an extra motivation, an extra push for you to keep on going and prove to yourself, which is kind of what I kind of tell to athletes as well, and kind of see it where you got to prove yourself that you're the best thing out there, that you can become like the next biggest thing, because it's up to you whether or not you're going to push yourself forward. And
Right.
so,
It's important to do it, for yourself in a way too, because what's the point of, I mean, of course there's people who do it for other people or certain aspects of it, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's that rewarding feeling for yourself, and like, you're obviously doing it because you love what you're doing, so that's what should keep you motivated in a way too, so.
yeah, no, most definitely. And so I'm going to go back a little on your process on getting signed
Mhm.
to your first professional team. And how was that whole thing? I mean, coming out of college, like you were working your butt off to get fit and play. And so what was the process now when you moved back to Germany on getting your first contract?
So for me, it also kind of similar to college or high school, my, playing pro and going overseas kind of, I would say, surfaced junior year of college a little bit. I think it was partly we were having a really good season as a team. I was excited about what we were doing, how I was playing, and it was the first time I was like, in a way, already like, oh gosh, like when college ends, that's probably kind of the end of at least here and now. And then the obviously the option of playing overseas surfaced, and it was like, this is a great way to keep playing at a very high level. Part of that definitely was, I would say, a smooth transition for me in terms of going to Germany because of my family. So we're German. My parents grew up there. I was born there. So, and I'm a dual citizen, which was just easier in terms of signing with a team and things like that, because there are limitations on how many foreigners get signed to a team and things like that. So it was in a way like a free advantage of like, just because I did have a passport for Germany, I could play as a German, which gave a lot of teams, how do I say this, like more room for extra other players as well. So it almost expanded my options, I would say. I was like set on knowing I was going to Germany. As soon as I like knew I wanted to play overseas, I knew I wanted to go to Germany because mainly of my family. All of my extended family, except for literally my parents and my sister, live in Germany still. So it was kind of a cool opportunity for me to go back to the roots and like see my grandparents more often, and my aunts and my uncles and my cousins, and just be able to use, and that had been in my mind a long time, that I at one point wanted to experience and live in Germany. And so basketball gave me a great way to like do that, and like, you know, fill that void kind of, and come and see what it's like over here. So I was actually put in contact directly with some of the clubs and coaches, and it helps because, again, my family speaks German and I speak German. So it was like the whole process, I would say, was simplified, because it was like, I can contact them directly. We can talk directly, like, what's up? Do you need someone? Like, here's my game film from college. So that's kind of how it was. Like, my mom played professionally actually in Germany like basketball back in the day. So she had direct contacts, from back in the day. So it was definitely a network for me. And then kind of had a couple options and fell in love with Marburg. It was spring senior year of college, and I flew over to Germany to kind of like check a couple of the different clubs out. Not actually like, it's not as like typical as like college visits, but my parents were like, you should go look and see where you'd like to be and where you'd be comfortable. It was like, I saw 3 different places, and it was like Marburg, there's no doubt. Like, I wanted to come here. Coach was great. City was awesome. And it kind of just all fell into place. And then I forget when exactly I signed. I think it was before senior year ended at some point, because you have to wait until you're officially like non-NCAA eligible anymore. Yeah, and then I signed, and I went over in August of 2017. And I mean, I've been here, this is my 4th year now, and Marburg's a hard place to leave. I always thought like, oh, maybe I'll, you know, jump around or see. A lot of people do that, like different countries or different cities even. But Marburg was just a great place to play basketball. And again, it felt very similar to college, like a great group of girls. And it was like, our coach did a very good job of like, you know, fostering the same culture that a lot of college teams do, and trying to make that more than just like, go play basketball. So in some ways it was like a similar setup to college, even though it was professional. So that was pretty cool, and just easy to, again, get comfortable really quickly. Again, I think I for sure got comfortable just because I spoke the language, and it was like less of a learning curve. So I definitely am thankful for that. Yeah, so now third season playing, I guess, 4th season here, and still like love it as much as I did the first year. Not that it's like I don't want to see anything else, but at the same time, it's a hard place to leave. It's easy to get comfortable. It's easy to just be like, this is great. Why would I want to risk going somewhere else? You know, can play basketball at a high level, all that stuff. So right now I'm just excited to get back on the court, and it's a familiar place to be. So that's been like a smooth transition again, I would say.
No, that's amazing, right? Being able to be at the place where you're at now and love it, like you said, it was the first season. And so it's amazing to see that you're able to adjust, and all these things that you had prior, you know, being able to speak German. I mean, you were born there, your family is there, and you have all that support system there too. It's amazing, and not a lot of athletes have that, because a lot of athletes who go to Europe, I mean, their families are here in the States, you know, and they can only call their families FaceTime. And for you, it's like that extra blessing that you can go see your family, your grandparents, like you talked about, like you probably dreamt about that you wanted to do later on after college. And so that's such an amazing thing. And after seeing all your success, I mean, being able now to say that you're going to be your 4th season there, 3rd season playing, I mean, who can you credit your success to?
I think it's definitely a combination of people and things. I definitely would say it starts with my parents and my family. I mean, even as simple as, I wouldn't be here today if my parents didn't, you know, drive me to, you know, basketball practice back in the day, or pay for all the traveling we did with AAU, and of course mentally supporting me and like always, encouraging me. I think I've gotten really, really blessed and lucky with a ton of great coaches and mentors along the way, whether that was high school leading into college. College, I had 3 different sets of coaching staffs, so that was like also crazy during that time, but I always take it as a blessing because I met so many different people that way. I mean, I had, what was it, 4, 8, 12, 13 coaches right off the back through my 4 years that are now just great, resources, still networking. A lot of them are still big mentors in my life, still contact with today. And then even here in Marburg, met so many great people that just, tapped into that unknown potential for me, motivated me, kept me going. And then I also obviously had a ton of teammates and people around me that made the journey fun, that are now, friends and always will be. And I think, when you have a group of people around you that always for me, like motivated me to be better and do better for them as well. Like if you're working for the people next to you on the court, I think that's something that is going to make you and your team better as well. So definitely not, I can't say one person or whatever, but so many people and along the road and, in different ways, but obviously thankful for every single person who had that influence. Yeah.
That was definitely great to see that through all the experiences that you have had, with the sport, you've always had those people who touch you in a different way and push you on becoming that athlete that you are now. A lot of people do have experiences and it either goes bad, and they don't take it, as a good thing, but you did. And you've had, like you said, 12, 13 different coaches in college, which you never think you would have had. But at the end of the day, it was something that, made you who you are now as an athlete. You're able to get different perspectives from different coaches on, hey, you should do this better, or hey, you should do that better, and it helped you out throughout your process on becoming
back in the day, it was, or I feel like during those transition phases, it was, I wouldn't say negative. I was never, but it was always like, oh my gosh, okay, a new coaching staff. And this is, just when we're getting used to it, or like, just when we're going on a roll, like, why does it keep happening? Or this is just, and then now I look back and I'm like, oh, it was amazing. And like, it was a cool learning opportunity and just that much more, room for learning and growth and meeting people. And that's something I think in general for my whole sports career is just, besides loving the sport, obviously, just like the people you meet along the way is gonna, that's something that'll stay with you forever. And so just through that, it was like, okay, well now it's more of like something I can be grateful for, that I met more people and got influenced by other, or different viewpoints or whatever you want to attribute it to. But it's funny how your perspective can change on it too. You're in it and you're like, oh great, another coaching change, and now you're here and you're like, oh, it was cool, and like I'm still, contact with all of them and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it definitely made you, it helped you adjust, with all the different coaching staff that you had, and it made it, even kind of an easier transition, like you said, when you went to Germany, back to Germany. You already went through so much of a process with different coaches. This was just like I have a different coach now, but hey, I've been through it all. I've had 4 different coaches throughout college. Like this is just, just a little hump where you're going to be able to overcome, and so your process from high school to college on now your 4th season in Germany. What advice would you give to your younger self, if you could, about the journey that you've taken so far?
I definitely think I would just continue to remind myself to stay in the moment, enjoy the process, don't get too caught up in what's next and, having to have it all figured out right then and there. Not that I was like, in my head over all that, but I definitely think time just flies so fast. Like I said, I'm going to my 4th season, which is, almost the amount of time I was in college for. And you just look back and you're like, wow, how does time fly so fast? And there's just so many, I think milestones you look over so quickly. The next thing is coming, or, you think you need to, have the next thing figured out. And as much as it's great to have a plan and, think into the future, I would tell myself to just, stay in that moment, enjoy it for what it is, whether it's an up or a down. In the long run, it's going to teach you something. And just, yeah, I don't know, enjoy the process is something I would say. And then to take care of my body for sure. Like the older you get and the longer you're doing this, you're like, yep, maybe I should have started, stretching in high school because I'm feeling it. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, taking care of your body, especially if that's something you want to, if you're playing sports at a high level for that long, it's a wear and tear. And that's important if you want to keep doing what you're doing. So those are the two things I think I would remind myself.
Yeah, you're definitely doing what you love, right? And that passion's never gonna go away. And so doing what you love, playing the sport, taking care of yourself, enjoying every moment, good or bad, is kind of what all athletes need to pretty much like take it in, because it's not always gonna be good. It's not always gonna be, a high. It's always gonna be, I have a couple highs and I have a lot more lows, and so being able to take that in and soak all of that and end up still pushing through is kind of what athletes need to do.
And you never know when it will be over. You obviously hope it's not because of a bad reason and it's your own choice, but like, again, it ends quicker than you think, and you're at an age or a level, whatever, and it's something you're always like, you don't want to regret, the time you didn't enjoy before it was over. So that's something I think is like, take it for what it is.
Yeah. And so to end our interview, I would like to hear probably your best basketball moment, if you can let us know, like a block, a shot that you scored, and buzzer beater, I don't know, but a championship that you won, or what's kind of your best, basketball moment that you can kind of like on the top of your head be like, oh, that was it.
I feel like I always go for this one, but it was just such a cool moment. My junior year when we beat Stanford at Stanford, I was just like, Stanford's in general, team to beat. We're going in as the underdogs. They were definitely underestimating us. We had a great game, played our hearts out, and, came up winning. And it was at their place, so it was like even more of a like, yeah, stick it in their face. That I will never forget that, and like celebrating in the locker room after, and things like that. That was just such a cool moment of like, we went in just like, hey, let's play a game and see what happens. Like, we very much know we're the underdogs. We very much know they're favored to win, and but shows you what happens when you just kind of forget that, and just play. So that was definitely, I always kind of mention that, I feel like, but it was just that was a cool moment that I was like, something I'll always remember.
Yeah, those are definitely the moments that athletes live for, those where it's either a big game, whatever, championship game, that feeling where, we can do this, and when you succeed on what the plan is, it's an even better, I guess, feeling in a way. And the whole experience throughout the game and then afterwards, what you get to celebrate, it's like, that's what we live for. And so once again, I want to thank you on being part of the hashtag Let's Kick It series. I appreciate the time that you have given us, and I hope nothing but the best for you. Coming back from your injury, non-contact, I know, but you're definitely itching to play again. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It was awesome.
Once again, thank you everyone who joined us on the hashtag Let's Kick It series. I want to thank again Marie for being part of this. For those who joined us, thank you, and we'll be back next week. Tune in.